African Union Communications. Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel AC Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command and combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of December 18, 2025, the armed forces of the Russian Federation continue to conduct the special military operation. Units of the North Group of Forces inflicted a defeat on the formations of the Armed Forces of Ukraine Jaeger Brigade and a National Guard regiment in the areas of the settlements of Aleksivka, Rizevka, Varachino, and Shoska in the Sumy region. In the Kharkiv direction, a defeat was inflicted on the units of two armed forces of Ukraine, mechanized brigades, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements of Prylipka, Vilcha, Stary Saltiv, Veliki Burluk, and Volchansky Kutori in the Kharkiv region. The enemy lost up to 150 servicemen, a combat armored vehicle, 8 vehicles, 2 artillery pieces, 2 electronic warfare stations, and a Rada radar station of Israeli production. Units of the West Group of Forces inflicted a defeat on the manpower and equipment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine mechanized, assault brigades and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements of Blagodatovka, Podoli, Kovsharovka, Boguslavka, Kupiansk, Uzlovoye, Neshvolodovka in the Kharkiv region, and Red Lyman in the Donetsk People's Republic. The losses of the Ukrainian armed formations amounted to up to 200 servicemen, a US-made M113 armored personnel carrier, 2 Turkish-made Cobra combat armored vehicles, 13 vehicles, 2 electronic warfare stations, and 3 ammunition depots. Units of the South Group of Forces took more advantageous positions. A defeat was inflicted on the formations of 2 armed forces of Ukraine, mechanized, airborne, 2 mountain assault brigades, a marine infantry brigade, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements of Rodnikovka, Zakotnoye, Kirovo, Minkovka, Konstantinovka, and Kramatorsk in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost more than 195 servicemen, 4 combat armored vehicles, 14 vehicles, 3 field artillery pieces, including 2 US-made 155mm M777 howitzers, 2 electronic warfare stations, and 3 ammunition depots. Units of the Center Group of Forces continued to destroy the surrounded enemy in the eastern and western micro-districts of the city of Dmitrov in the Donetsk People's Republic, a mop-up of scattered armed forces of Ukraine groups in the settlements of Rodinovskoye and Svetlo in the Donetsk People's Republic is being carried out. Attempts to break through by armed forces of Ukraine assault groups through forest strips, from the direction of the settlement of Shevchenko to the northern outskirts of the industrial zone of the city of Krasnoarmeysk in the Donetsk People's Republic were thwarted. 42 militants and 14 units of military equipment were destroyed. A defeat was inflicted on the manpower and equipment of the armed forces of Ukraine, mechanized, airborne, infantry, airborne assault brigades, 2 armed forces of Ukraine assault regiments, a marine infantry brigade, 2 territorial defense brigades, and the Azov Special Forces Brigade in the areas of the settlements of Kutuzovka, Sergeyevka, Grishino, Volnoe, Toretskoye, Belitskoye in the Donetsk People's Republic, and Novopavlovka and Novopodgorodnoye in the Dnipropetrovsk region. The enemy's losses amounted to over 545 servicemen, 5 combat armored vehicles, 10 vehicles, and 2 artillery pieces. Units of the East Group of Forces continued to advance into the depth of the enemy's defense. The Assault Brigade, 2 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade were defeated in the areas of the settlements of Andreevka, Gavrilovka in the Dnipropetrovsk region, and Gulyaipole and Kosovstvo in the Zaporizhzhia region. The armed forces of Ukraine lost up to 245 servicemen, 4 armored combat vehicles, 12 vehicles, and 3 warehouses of materiel. Units of the Dnieper group of forces defeated the formations of the Mountain Assault Brigade and the Coastal Defense Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements of Tyaginka, Nikolsko, and Dniprovsko in the Kherson region. Up to 70 Ukrainian servicemen, 21 vehicles, 2 field artillery pieces, including a 155mm M777 howitzer, produced in the USA, and 2 warehouses of materiel were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the armed forces of the Russian Federation defeated energy infrastructure objects used in the interests of the armed forces of Ukraine. Assembly shops for long-range strike unmanned aerial vehicles and their storage sites, as well as temporary dislocation points of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 1 to 49 districts. Air defense systems shot down 216 fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the following have been destroyed: 669 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 103,758 unmanned aerial vehicles, 640 anti-aircraft missile systems, 26,591 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,633 multiple rocket launcher systems, 31,994 field artillery and mortar pieces, 49,358 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.